Hello everyone, this is me from the Service Manager Product Management team. Today's is the Service Manager user group, and today's session it's about ALM integration. This is a refactor solution to replace previous legacy SMAL integration. So I will hand over to my colleagues, Yana, who will give you more detailed information and the demonstration about this integration, which should be released through the content pack later. Yana.
Okay, so Ming, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Hello everyone, I'm Yana from Service Manager team. In this session, I will introduce our ALM integration refactor. Here is the agenda. I will introduce the background, list some supported scenarios, show you some use cases, and there is some configurations in both Service Manager and the ALM, and then it will have the supported versions for Service RTE and applications to support this feature, and then we will have a demo to show several use cases in the environment. And finally, we have a Q&A session. So if you have any issue, you can raise to us. Since the committed support for ALM synchronizer is coming to an end on May 31st of this year, to reduce the impact, we have developed a new solution for this SM-ALM integration to replace it. Previously, when you use SM-ALM integration, you need to install a middleware named ALM synchronizer and then apply a SM add-in on it. Actually, majority configurations should be done in this synchronizer, and all the exchange between Service Manager and ALM is through it. Now, the new solution of this integration is achievable through Integration Manager. We call it SMIS within Service Manager. And the configuration on SMIS is much simpler and more straightforward. Obviously, there are some benefits. You needn't to install the middleware like synchronizer and add-ins, and you needed to consider the compatibility and upgrade issue between Service Manager, ALM, and the middleware. Then the new solution also aligns with other Service Manager integrations. The configuration process will be managed in the SMIS, and it's more simple. The supported scenarios are as usual. We support to synchronize Service Manager changes to ALM as defects or requirements, and we support synchronize Service Manager problems to ALM as defects, and also we support synchronize ALM defects to Service Manager as problems. This is a use case, and this is an example to show the use case of Service Manager to ALM defects. Recently, Spring Boot team was notified that they needed to upgrade their Tomcat version to avoid the issue in current version. So the product owner proposed a change with upgrading Tomcat to latest version. Finally, the change manager decides to synchronize the change to ALM as a defect. Then we can test and track it in ALM. In the upper picture, you can find that this is a snapshot from a change record. It's the detailed part of this change. And you will find that there is a ALM tab. In out-of-box, we configure we configure a ALM tab in build and test phase of a normal change. When the ALM tab is displayed, you can synchronize the change to ALM as defect or requirement. First, you'll find there is several fields here. The important fields are ALM action, ALM project. First, you need to fill ALM action and ALM project before synchronization. Then save the change ticket. It will trigger the synchronization job in background. I will introduce the field one by one. First, it's ALM action. In change module, we will have two actions here. One is change to defect, the other is change to requirement. In this case, we will choose change to defect. It means we will synchronize a change from Service Manager to ALM as a defect. And ALM project. Since in ALM, the customer could create multiple projects. In this solution, one integration instance is configured for one ALM project. If you enable the multiple incidents, it means you set up the integration for multi-projects. So there will be more projects listed here. Here are two projects. Then I will choose Service Manager 918 for the example. When you choose the action and the project, you can start to the synchronize. And after the job is finished, the synchronization job is finished, the value will be updated and all of them are read-only. So this picture is to show the synchronization job finished. When after it finished, you will find the ALM ID is 6. It means the new defect created in ALM. The ID is number 6. And the type is defect. If here is changed to requirement, then the type is requirement. And the new defect in ALM, the status is new, so the status is synchronized back in Service Manager. And here are some time steps for the update time, synchronization time. And because the synchronization is success, so the status is success. If it made some problems, it will marked as failed. And you'll find there is an ALM attachments area here. If you would like to synchronize the attachments from Service Manager to ALM, first, please make sure the attachments are available in the change attachments. So when you click the add action in ALM attachment area, it will launch a page to show all attachments in this change, and then you can choose the attachment which you want to synchronize from Service Manager to ALM. So this is the ALM attachment area. Sometimes we will add some updates to change and want to synchronize to ALM. Then you should select the update type to update to external service, and then input some updates. Those updates will be synchronized to ALM as the comments, but it's unidirectional because we only support synchronized update from Service Manager to ALM. We do not support the synchronization. We do not support the comments synchronization from ALM to Service Manager. And from the picture, you can find the ALM action and ALM project are filled by menu. And the synchronization job starts when you fill the value and save the change ticket. We also support the automatic synchronization. It means the synchronization is triggered by looksets. Once the condition defined in looksets are met, it will fill ALM action and ALM project up in background with predefined values. So there are two ways to trigger the synchronization job. You can use them according to your business. In ALM side, this is the defect screenshot in ALM side. Once the synchronization job finished, a defect is created in ALM. Here the number ID is 6. You'll find it's also in the Service Manager Change ALM tab. So when the defect is created, all the fields which configure the in-field mapping will have values. For example, the summary is the title mapped to ALM. It's the title in Service Manager Change. So here is the summary, and the description is the description in Change. And here is the update from the Service Manager Change, and here is comments. So the other field like severity, the status, those are all have the field mapping we did before. And you'll find there is Service Manager ID. It's the change number ID. So the change number will record it here. If you want, if you can do the field mapping according to your requirements. So to your business requirements, then those fields will have value during the synchronization finished. After the synchronization finished. Also, you can find the attachments also synchronized successfully. You can view it or open it or download it. The second use case is SM changes to ALM requirements. An online shopping website decided to support PayPal as a new payment method. This proposal is finally approved, since ALM has full lifecycle management of requirements. The change manager synchronized change to ALM as a requirement for further investigation and management. This is a screenshot from the Service Manager change, and the exchange between the Service Manager change and the ALM requirements is like the change to defect. When you choose the ALM action to change to requirements and choose the project, the change will be synchronized to ALM, and a new requirement will be created in ALM, and the requirement number will be filled back to Service Manager. Here is the requirement number. It's 1. This is the number, and you will find the synchronizing status as success if you select the attachment, and the attachment will be displayed here. But in this case, we do not synchronize the attachment. And in ALM, you can search the requirement with the number 1, then the requirement is displayed in ALM. The name, the description, and the Service Manager change ID is displayed and synchronized. And if you have the attachment or comments, those will be synchronized as well. The third use case is Service Manager problems to ALM defects. Recently, the performance team received a lot of reports about antivirus downgrading user performance. This can be a potential issue. The problem manager decides to synchronize the problem to ALM as a defect. Hence, the vendor will supply a hotfix and use ALM to check the issue. The ALM action. So the ALM action in the service manager in service manager program module, we only have one action. It's program to defect, because we only support synchronized program to ALM defect. So there is only one action. And here you can choose the project, and when the synchronization finished, a defect will be created in ALM, and the defect number will update back in ALM ID, and the status of the defect will be synchronized here. And the synchronization status is successful. The attachment is also added to ALM attachment from change attachment, and then it has been already a success to synchronize to ALM. And those attachment added operations and synchronized to ALM, those actions can be recorded here as an activity in change record. Here you can find the attachment added to ALM, the operator, the type, and the date time. So when you go to ALM, then you can use the defect number 7 to search the new created defect. Also, you can check the fields. Those have values like summary, like the severity, like the SMID, description, comments, attachment. All those can be synchronized. We also support ALM defects to ALM problems. It means we can, if in ALM there is a defect, want to synchronize to SM and create a problem in Service Manager, we also can do that. But in ALM, you can search the defect and then make the push to SM problem field as yes, and save the defect. Then the defect will be synchronized to Service Manager, and the corresponding problem will be created. If the push to SM problem field is no or none or other values, this defect in ALM will be not synchronized. This is background logic. And when the after the synchronization finished, you'll find the push to SM problem field is marked as done in ALM defect, and the Service Manager problem ID is updated here. It marked as done, it means this defect has been synchronized to ALM. So this is the ALM defect synchronization to SM problem. In SM side, you'll find that the new problem is created with the title, description, and some fields. And in the ALM tab, you'll find that those values are also updated. The defect number is here, and the defect status is new, and because it's synchronized from ALM to Service Manager, so so far there is no ALM attachment here. And those are the use cases part. Now we can go to the configurations. And for this integration, we need to do the configuration in both Service Manager and ALM sides. For the customers, no matter new or existing, it's better to follow the documentation to set up the integration. There are one-by-one steps to introduce the detailed configuration in each part. But for the existing customers who are already using this integration with legacy synchronizer, should pay attention to below steps. First, because you have already did the field mapping in like say service manager ALM synchronizer. So now you need to do the field mapping in SMIS. So you can reconfigure those field mapping in SMIS instead in the synchronizer. Secondly, the web service configuration in legacy solution is no longer needed for our new solution. So the original configuration for the web service will not be affected. Third, to reduce the impact, you need to create some new fields in ALM for synchronization usage. And then we will provide a script for your use to migrate the values of the old values to the new fields, and from the old fields to the new fields. And this will be introduced later. The first part is configuration in ALM. The first one is set up API access. The original solution is configuring username and password in Synchronizer for the integration synchronization usage. Now we use the client ID and client secret instead of username password. Those will be configured in Service Manager SMIS. Add customer fields. For defect module, we need to add SMID, SM table, push to SM problem, 3 fields. The SMID is to store change or problem ID. SM table is used to store the Service Manager change or problem table name, which is important for synchronization logic in background. And push to SM problem, as we just introduced, if you want to synchronize ALM defect to SM as a problem, you need to mark this field as yes, then the defect will be synchronized. When finished, it will mark it as done. And for the requirement module in ALM, 2 fields is enough. One is Service Manager ID, the other is SM table. And the third one is optional. This is not mandatory, but it's better to have that. Because you added some customer fields like SMID, SM table. I think those fields, it's better to make them as read only. Especially for the SM table, it's useless for the end user, but it's useful for the background process. So we can make the SM table as invisible and SMID or other field like the read only. So if we want to add the rules to restrict the writing permission or other permission to the custom fields, you can add those scripts in ALM. And the configuration in SMIS is the important. First, when you add a ALM integration instance, when you add integration instance, the configuration wizard will be launched. There are one general page to configure the interval time, passive log, the name of integration instance, and others. After that, it will go to this page. This page is to configure ALM project, defect settings, requirement settings for ALM. So I will introduce first I will introduce ALM project. Here I have the name, domain, project, base URL, client ID, client secret. You can specify the ALM domain and the project. Since we support more integration incidents, And so it's better to give a name for easier to identify the project. The base URL is a ALM URL. Client ID, client secret, as we introduced in previous slides, the value can get from ALM API access. And those and in the API access, you can get them for one user. Which user you want to configure here, you can get the corresponding client ID and the client secret. Version enabled version checkbox. ALM has the version concept. If ALM enable the version, the SMIS need to enable the version as well, or the synchronization will fail. So if you enable the version in ALM, please check the checkbox. If the ALM not have the option, don't check the option, this can be the false. And there is a note for different domains projects. You can configure different integration instances for each of them, and the end user can identify the target project by the name field. Then we go to the defect settings. In previous steps, we required to create SMID, SM table, and push to SM problem fields in ALM. Then please fill those field name in SMIS for each field. For example, if the field name of SMID in ALM is BG user 01, then please fill user 01 in ALM field for SMID. The similar action for the other two fields. And for the exclude status, it means ALM defect will stop updating if it's in any of the above status. Actually, if you wouldn't like to synchronize the SM update information to a ALM defect with a certain status, for example, rejected or closed defects, you can specify the status here. Then the updates will be stopped. Enable SM change to ALM defect checkbox. If it checked as true, the synchronization between Service Manager change and ALM defects works. But for add action, we only support SM change to ALM defect. It means we don't support create SM change record from a ALM defect. We only support to create a ALM defect from SM change. So the add action is unidirectional from SM to ALM. But for update action between SM and ALM, it's bidirectional. All the updates in SM and ALM will be synchronized to each other when the field mapping is defined. Enable Service Manager problem to ALM defect checkbox. This option is a little bit different from SM change to ALM defect. Because in between SM problem and ALM defect, both the add and update actions are bidirectional. We support to create SM problem from ALM defect and also support to create ALM defect from SM problem. The update is also bidirectional between each other. Then we can go to the requirement settings. Here is similar to the defect settings. If when you create SMID and SM table fields in requirement module of ALM, then please fill the field name of SMID in requirement. You can fill here. For example, if the SMID field in ALM requirement is RQ user 01, then please fill the user 01 for SMID here. So the SM table has the similar action. Here I have the enable service manager change to ALM requirement. If you want to synchronize the change to ALM defect requirement, please check this checkbox. And for the action, add action, we supported to create SM change to ALM requirement. It's bidirectional, and we don't support create a SM change from ALM requirement. But the update action between SM and ALM are bidirectional. The update on both of them can be synchronized to each other. And this is the settings for ALM project, defect, and requirement. And then we can go to the field mapping. When you enable those modules, like if you only enable service manager change to ALM requirement, and then we can go to the field mapping directory. Then there will be no this list here. But if you enable the much more modules, like you have enabled SM change to ALM defect, SM problem to ALM defect, and SM change to ALM requirement, those enabled modules will be listed in module list. Then you can click one by one to do the field mapping for each module. And here, if you click change to defect, the field mapping wizard will display it. The first page is the SM fields. Here you can input the SM fields which you would like to synchronize to ALM. So you can input some fields here with the field type, field name, description, and address. And the endpoint fields, here is the ALM fields. If you want to synchronize or make the field mapping, you can list those fields which you want to make the field mapping for service manager and ALM. So in ALM field, you also need to input those fields with the field name, field type, description, and address. And after that, you can click the next button to the next page. In this field mapping tab, here you can choose the different fields and map to different ALM field. If you want to map SM title to ALM summary, you can choose SM field as title and endpoint field as summary. And if you want to synchronize those two fields with each other, then you can specify the direction by directional. If you only want to synchronize the ALM status to SM ALM status, you can use the use this direction. So each field mapping can define according to your business. And also you can specify the default value. And also for severity, those fields you can use the value mapping group. The value mapping group is here. You can click the tab to map the severity, priority, urgency, like those fields. And so when you finish the field mapping and enable the integration instance, the integration works. For the customization part, I need to mention is first, if you want the ALM tab in different forms and faces in your product environment, you can use Form Designer to configure it. No coding needed. And secondly, if you should define rule sets to meet your business requirements to achieve the automatic ticket creating. Actually, in out-of-box, we will have one example on problem. Finally, it's the detailed configuration for existing customers. Considering that customers who are already using Service Manager ALM integration have created already created some legacy fields, like synchronize with SM, change ID, problem ID. Those are the legacy fields. To reduce the impact, we suggest customer to create new fields in ALM. For the defect module, which need to it's better to create 3 fields, and for requirement module, 2 fields. Then you can run a script to migrate all the values for tickets, which still need synchronization when switched to the new integration solution. The contents of the migration include some actions. First, we will update the push to SM field with synchronize with SM field. For change module, we will copy change ID to SM ID and then update SM table. And for the problem module, we can copy problem ID to SM ID, then update SM table. And there are some other actions then in the script. So for the script and the examples, even the detailed configuration steps, we will later provide documentation for you. This page is about the supported versions. We will deliver a content pack to support this feature, but the Service Manager RT should be 9.64 patch 4 at least, and also support 9.6x. And the applications will support 9.60 and above applications. And then we'll merge the feature to next release OOB. Do you have any questions for those slides? If there is no questions, we'll have a demo in the environment. For this demo, we will have show 2 use cases. One is from Service Manager change to ALM as a requirement, and the other is to show the SM problem to ALM defect. And those are 2 use cases. For the change module, we will use the synchronization by manual, and the problem module, we will use automatic ticket creating. First, I logged as change manager, and there is a change. We can open it. You'll find it's a normal change and in build and test phase. And then we can go to the change details. You'll find it's the change about supporting paper as a new payment method, and the urgency is high. And then because it's in build and test phase, then we have the ALM tab here. Here are some fields. Before the synchronization, those fields are empty. Here we can click the drop-down list. We have 2 actions here. One is change to defect, the other is change to requirement. In this case, we will choose the second one. And here is the ALM project. We have 2 projects here. One is Service Manager, the other is SMIS. It means we have set up 2 projects, ALM projects in SM, and those 2 projects can do the synchronization between Service Manager and ALM, and then you can select one of them. Here I will choose the first one. Then you can save the ticket. And because it will trigger the background process, and it has some interval time. It has the interval time you defined in the integration incidents. Now I will skip the waiting time. Let's go to check the change again after the synchronization job finished. Here you can find the ALM tab. All the fields are read-only and with some values. This and the ALM ID, it means a new requirement is created in ALM and the requirement ID is 3. And the type is requirement. The update or synchronization time is updated. And the status is success. Then we can go to the ALM to check the requirements we just created. Here the number 3. In the requirement you'll find the name is synchronized from the title, and the description is here. Here I choose a product, and the ticket release. Actually, if you want those fields has values during the synchronization, you can define the field mapping in SMIS. Here I updated the priority from high to urgent. And then we can save the ticket. And after the synchronization job run, we can go to check the service manager change again. You can find the time is updated, and in the change details, you can find that the urgency is mapped to critical. And then now I want to update some comments for this change, and it's useful to the defect requirement in ALM. So if you want to synchronize those two ALM requirements, you need to select the new update type as update to external service. Then you can input some information. Here we also need to add ALM attachment. First, we should make sure the attachments in change record has attachment. If the attachment you want to synchronize to ALM doesn't list here, you need to upload it to this attachment tab firstly. Then we can go to the ALM attachments area. You can click add and the page will launch. Here we only have one attachment. If you have more attachment for this change, you can choose several of them or one of them to synchronize to service to ALM. Here we check the log and OK. I click yes we want to synchronize this attachment. Then we can click save. So after the synchronization job finished, we can check. You'll find the attachment have already added to ALM, and this is an activity logged and recorded in the change record. And the comments also update the comments here. We added for the updated to external service type. It will synchronize to ALM as well. In the ALM tab, you can find the attachment is synchronized and the status is success. Then we can go to the requirements to check the result. Then you can find the comments have the value. This is the update from service manager change record. And when we have the attachment, this is logs.txt. You can download it. So this is the use case for service manager change to ALM requirement. Now we can have the use case for program to service manager program to ALM defect. I logged it as program manager. We open a program. This problem is about the Tomcat downgrades the user performance, and this could be a potential issue. For this ticket, have the title, description, and the urgency is average. And in ALM tab, here you can manually select the ALM action and ALM project. But in this auto box, we configured a rule set to make the automatic creating ticket. Then the rule set in the auto box is defined as when the primary CI of a program is ADV server 101 Tomcat, then it will trigger the condition. When the condition is met, we can trigger the script library to background to fill the ALM action and the ALM project automatically. Actually, those are the predefined values in the script library. Then when the primary CI is meet the condition, those values will be filled here. Now, when we save and exit, save the ticket, the synchronization job will be triggered, and then after finished, you can go to the program to check the result. The activity you can find on the ALM defect number 9 is created, and we can go to ALM, and the number 9 of defect is the defect number is updated here, and the status of the defect is new is updated as well. Here are some other fields like success to make the synchronization status. And then we can go back to the defect in ALM to search the new created defect like the number 9. Here the summary, the description, the severity, the status. Here we can update the status to open and update the urgent as the severity. And here you can find that the problem ID is updated as service manager ID. Then once the synchronization job finished, we can go to the program to check the result. The urgency is updated to critical, and the ALM, the ALM status of the defect is open. It's also synchronized here. And when we back to the ALM defect, we can change the close the ticket. We can close the ticket, and then we save the ticket. We can go to double check the status is closed. Once the status is closed, the status will be synchronized to the program ALM tab. The status is closed. So once the ALM defect is closed or rejected, the updates on this program will be no longer synchronized to that defect. Here we can make some updates in this program. Update to external service. We can input some information here. If the defect is not in rejected and closed phases, the information will be updated to ALM defect as a comments. But now it's in it's closed defect, so the comments will be not synchronized here. It's a create behavior. Okay, so I think we have done for this demo and for the introduction for this refactor. So Do you have any questions?
For your introduction. So as Yana mentioned, for this refactored SM ALM integration, we will release a new content pack to support previous Service Manager version from the Service Manager applications 9.6 to Service Manager 9.72. And this content pack also will be merged into the next Service Manager out-of-box release. So around this solution, do you have any question? If there's no questions about this, I will close today's call. And in case some of you cannot hear the live session, or your colleagues cannot not hear the live session, the recording will be uploaded to the SM Learn page later once it is available. Okay, I got think this. Okay, there's no more question. I will close today's call in the webinar. And thank you for your time joining this session, and looking forward to seeing you next time. Thank you, Yana. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.